After losing his job, Tom is forced to work for his wife's father while she transitions to full-time motherhood. At the start of the film, Tom and his wife Sophia are having trouble deciding on a name for their unborn child. Sophia is reading a baby book and aspires to complete every task. Tom commands her to put down the book, turn to face him, and utter the first name that comes to mind. She jokingly refers to him as Doofus, and they both giggle about it. Tom rises to start making breakfast. Sophia informs him that she will not have an epidural since it is better for the unborn child. She responds that she is ready to do anything when he expresses worry about her ability to endure the agony, so that the infant has the best health possible. Tom kisses his wife and exits while hastily making his way to work. A familiar face approaches Tom as he makes his way to work. When his buddy begins boasting about how wealthy he is, Tom starts to make up stories and even claims to own a boat. When Tom first gets to work, he laments to a colleague and muses on his mistakes. As he makes his way to the kitchen, he observes that everyone is silent. When he inquires about the issue, a colleague responds, her supervisor, Leon, will be deducting everyone's salary because someone left some fish out overnight, he said. Tom is asked by his employees to speak with Leon, but he declines since he is going to become a father and cannot take the chance of losing the promotion. At that same time, Leon enters and begins directing everyone. When he informs one man that he will be working that Sunday, the man responds that he must attend his sister's wedding. Leon informs him that he must go to work and doesn't give a damn about it. Leon sees that everyone is staring at him. Riley refers to him negatively. Leon then dismisses him. As soon as Riley begins to belittle him, Tom squirts some barbecue sauce in his face. Tom acknowledges his error and offers an apology, but Leon decides it is insufficient and smacks Tom after giving him a pork chop. Riley confronts him and asserts that you should never strike a guy with a pork chop. He receives a second smack from Leon, and a brawl breaks out in the kitchen. When Tom attempts to break up the fight, Leon informs him that he has also been fired and squirts barbecue sauce on both of them. Tom assaults him once again. Tom and Riley are expelled from the kitchen after the brawl. When Sophia arrives at work to collect her belongings, she runs into her worried colleague. When she inquires as to whether anything is wrong, her colleague replies that she is worried about how Tom will handle their money while she is away. Sophia claims she will be a full-time mother rather than a housewife. She finds out the baby is on the way when her water breaks in the middle of the workplace. When Tom receives a call from the hospital, he instantly leaves. As soon as he sits down next to his wife, she screams. She requests an epidural because she claims the cramps are really painful. She is informed by the nurse that no anesthesiologists are available and that she should have inquired sooner. Tom goes in search of an anesthesiologist when Sophia takes him by the collar and demands one. When he locates the doctor, he informs him that he is leaving for home. He informs him that he needs him right away since his wife is in excruciating agony. Tom snatches the keys from his hand after hearing him reply no. He begins fleeing the guy along the halls, making his way to his wife's chamber in the process. When they enter the room and collapse to the floor, Tom informs his wife that he has located an anesthesiologist. The doctor administers an epidural to Sophia and instructs the security personnel to take Tom to the police station. Tom asks the doctor whether there is anything the doctor can do for him as Sophia begs the police officers. Tom inquires about the doctor's name after remembering that they haven't given their kid a name. Tom asks for his last name after hearing him utter Hakeem. Oliver is given as the baby's name in honor of the doctor. Tom chooses to notify Sophia that he lost his job after she has her kid. He starts to defend himself, but Sophia cuts him off and lists all of the jobs he's been let go from. She claims that although she appreciates his outspokenness and keen sense of smell, he should be able to reach agreements just like everyone else. Tom draws nearer and tells her that everything is a message from God, telling them to go to New York. He claims he would accept her father's employment offer. Later, we show the family traveling to Ohio with the infant. Tom is forced to admit when he drives there that the area isn't one he would like. When they get there, Sophia's parents greet them with a surprise. Once inside, they see some odd-looking furniture. When Tom asks who owns the furniture, they respond that they received it as a housewarming present. Bob, Sophia's father, makes an effort to get Tom to get a real career. Tom claims to have had a career in the past, but Bob objects, saying that being a chef isn't a genuine job. Sophia attempts to defend him by pointing out that he worked as a chef and not a cook, but Bob maintains that the two jobs are equivalent. According to him, having a legitimate career transforms you and makes you proud. He begins praising Sophia and talks about how well she did in college. Tom claims that since they have been dating since college, he is aware of her achievements. Sophia is uneasy when Bob mentions that he will appoint Chip Sanders as the head of training. Before going to bed later on in the evening, Tom queries Sophia about Chip. She claims that she hasn't seen him since their days as cheerleaders in high school. As he attempts to make love to Sophia, Tom asks her to put on one of her cheerleader uniforms. Tom goes to bed when she informs him that she isn't prepared for that just yet. The next morning, Tom arrives at work and notices a somewhat odd workplace. Employees are not dressed in suits and ties, but rather in more casual attire. Bob approaches him when he sees him. He acknowledges forgetting to advise him not to wear a suit and tie since they have a more casual, business-appropriate uniform that allows you to be yourself while still looking professional. Bob informs him that Don Woolabin has been the new boss for the last year. Doug and Manny introduce Tom, and the three of them go to work on an imaginary ball. Doug tosses it to Tom, but when he misses, Manny chases after it. To demonstrate to one another their synchronicity, Bob instructs Tom to catch the S-ball. In their discussion, Bob brings up the pickle whip. They're attempting to sell burgers with tartar sauce on them. Bob presents Tom to the rest of the team after taking care of business. To indicate that the ball is moving farther, Manny tosses the S-ball to Tom, who then transfers it to Chip. When everyone stops talking, Tom informs Chip that he needs to leap to grab it. When Chip gets up from the table, it is clear that he is using a wheelchair. He admits to Tom that he is incapable of jumping and hasn't been since he was 5 years old. Tom is introduced to Bob, and Bob informs him that Chip will be Tom's immediate supervisor. Tom goes to Chip to offer his apologies once the meeting is done. Bob joins him and claims that no one apologizes in the workplace. They use a technique known as mousehuake, in which you express your regrets on paper and present them to the other person. Because Chip had won Ohio's finest advertiser that year, Bob assures Tom that he will be working with the best. Sophia seemed to be enjoying life as she spent her days caring for her kid. Later on, Chip visits Tom's desk. He views a photo of Tom and Sophia and remarks on how fortunate Tom is. The man sets the photograph aside and explains that the fact that Tom is there is more significant to him than whether or not he obtained the position like the others via family ties. Chip advises Tom to take his time and that he will finish whatever work he is given. When Sophia hears a cracking sound outside, she is watching television. As she steps outside, she spots a guy having fun with snaps. He claims to be bored since his father forbade him from watching TV. Sophia claims that she is also bored since she is confined to caring for her baby. The youngster begins telling her about his life when she invites him inside the home for some companionship. He claims that he spends the academic year in New Jersey with his mother and travels home for the summer with his father. He is always bored since his dad works long hours and his friends still live in New Jersey. Tom picks up a fruit yogurt on his lunch break at work. When his colleague Carol enters, he has already begun to devour it. She tells him to go as quickly as possible, but soon admits that she's kidding. When Chip finds that someone has eaten his yogurt, she claims it will be hell. When Chip enters the kitchen, he starts looking for his yogurt. From behind his back, Tom removes something and inquires as to its ownership. Because it was his fault for not telling him about the yogurt, Chip argues that everything is okay. Chip gestures toward the muffins as Tom claims that Bob informed him about the free food in the kitchen. Tom gives him the remaining yogurt and even says he'll go get a new one. But Chip says he won't eat it as a form of retribution. Carol admits that he made a mistake and offers him one more week before being dismissed. As soon as he comes home, he complains to his wife about Chip. He calls him furious, and Sophia responds that if he had lost his ability to walk, he would be upset too. Tom claims it has nothing to do with his handicap and believes he has a darker side. Sophia advises him not to attempt to spark any conflict since it is his first week on the job. He claims he is not attempting to start anything and is only expressing what he feels. Wesley, the little child from earlier, emerges as they hear the toilet flush. Tom inquires about him, and Sophia responds that he is there because his father won't allow him to watch TV. Tom and the whole crew are at a meeting the next day. They are discussing sales, and their customer doesn't seem to be pleased. Tom interrupts Chip and says that they have a 4-pronged plan and that Chip had neglected the direct mail when he claims that they have a 3-pronged method. Tom chooses to play it cool and informs Chip that if he had read the paper, he would have seen that there are 4 tactics, countering Chip's assertion that it is a 3-pronged plan once again. The client ends the discussion by saying that he had advised them against using direct mail. Bob explains to Tom that the client's son had asked them not to reveal the direct mailing to his father. Tom apologizes. Tom extends his sincere apologies to Bob after the meeting is over. Chip claims that because Tom is his duty, he is to blame. Because it is his family, Bob claims he will accept responsibility. After expressing gratitude, Tom returns to his work. Chip follows him and attempts to bother him, but he spots Sophia at the workplace. Sophia joins in as he begins singing one of their cheering chants. Chip picks Sophia up and holds her by her bottom as their cheerleading routine comes to a close, grins at Tom the whole time. Sophia admits to Tom that she and Chip had a sexual encounter once when they were traveling home. When they arrive home, Tom displays jealousy. Wesley enters, breaking off their conversation. He ultimately stays for supper. Wesley informs them that he has to demonstrate a trick to them before continuing. Tom is amazed as he grabs the burger and shoves it in his mouth, swallowing it whole without even chewing it. Tom encourages Wesley to repeat the action while he gets the camera, realizing that he could create an advertisement for the pickle sauce. Wesley claims he can't, but Tom persuades him by offering him $20. The next morning, when Tom sees Chip at the gym, he immediately attempts to sell the idea. He should unwind, says Chip, since they won't be working today. Instead, they'll be playing basketball. As soon as they enter the court, Chip gestures for Tom to board the wheelchair. Tom claims he can't because he doesn't feel at ease. According to Chip, it's something that individuals like him often do, and the handicapped don't mind. They continue once Tom transfers to the wheelchair. The guidelines are the same, according to Chip, so he shouldn't move his legs since that would be sufficient. Chip joins the other squad and hands Tom to the Colonel, a player who is rather harsh. When the Colonel approaches Tom and inquires about his playing ability, Tom replies that he is a novice and declines. The Colonel expresses gratitude for his sincerity and declares that he despises phonies. Tom struggles to understand the game as it starts. The game ends in a tie after some wagering. Tom scores another goal, but he loses his balance and falls off the wheelchair. When Chip approaches him, Tom laughs in his face since he has won. For the benefit of the other players, Chip shouts that Tom's leg has shifted. They all approach Tom, and he stands up while asking Chip to clarify for them since there must have been a miscommunication. The Colonel takes Tom and begins strangling him after he pretends like he knows nothing. After the game, we see Tom and Chip in their lockers. When Chip apologizes to Tom for the mix-up, Tom responds in a condescending manner, "It's all right." The next morning, Tom arrives at work and is struck in the face by a snowboard as he exits the elevator. The person who struck him apologizes, and as he turns to go, Tom is informed that he is Woolabin. In a meeting, Chip presents Woolabin with his plan. He claims that it resembles an advertisement, and everyone dislikes advertisements. Tom interjects and offers a suggestion. Bob informs him that, as a simple assistant, he is not in a position to provide suggestions. Following the completion of the video, Woolabin congratulates him on pulling it off. He appoints Chip as his wingman and instructs Tom that he must pitch Jack's concept the next day. Woolabin encourages Tom to go mountain biking after Tom claims to do it for fun. Chip responds that he doesn't care since he will reflect back on the notion and view it as a joke when he is in Barcelona, and Tom asks him if there are any bitter feelings. After Tom tells Carol everything, she informs him that Chip has submitted an application to the Idea advertising firm in Barcelona. When he sees that Sophia's image has been taken, he ends the discussion. Sophia hears a knock at her door when she is over at the residence. She only sees her high school buddy Abby March when she opens it. Sophia may be seen participating in group yoga with other mothers and their infants. The session is opened by the group's leader, Abby. Sophia observes the moms whispering strange things to their children and feels strange. When she turns her head to the side, she notices a lady applying something to her chest. She gives her some, explaining that while the balm is intended for cow ovaries, it also works wonders for aching chests. Sophia respectfully rejects and acknowledges that she isn't welcome there. Tom and Bob are in the office, where we are. Woolabin had given Bob a lamp as a thank you for employing Tom, which Bob showed Tom. Since Woolabin took over, he claims that things have not been going well for him, but Tom's arrival at the workplace and excellent work have changed everything. After work, Tom decides to purchase a mountain bike and gives it to Sophia as a surprise. When he gets home, he brings the baby inside and holds it in his arms until the wailing stops. When Sophia questions Tom about the bike, he replies that Woolabin had asked him to go mountain biking shortly after appointing him to lead the Pickle Whip campaign. Sophia advises him to give the bike back since he has never gone mountain biking. Tom claims he won't give it back since maintaining his physical health and job are equally vital. Sophia claims that Abby was the reason why her day was terrible. She branded her a horrible mother and humiliated her in front of the group. Tom continues to extol Woolabin, saying that she is a wonderful mother. When he jokes that Chip can't go mountain biking, Sophia corrects him and warns him against making light of other people's infirmities. After putting the infant to sleep, he enters the bedroom. Tom responds to Sophia's question regarding Woolabin and what he would gain from the advertisement by saying that he would get $1,000. She feels that Woolabin isn't being treated fairly, and Tom informs her that she is jealous because she is used to being a star and that her lack of attention is bothering her. She goes to bed without responding when he urges her to confess. To discuss the advertisement, Tom meets with Jack. Tom attempts to imitate Jack's false Irish accent as Jack shakes his hand and inquires about his Irish heritage. When Jack asks whether he's making fun of him, Tom responds in the negative. Chip chimes in and suggests getting to what's important. After watching the video, Chip excuses himself, as he has to leave earlier. Before leaving, he tells Tom to present the market penetration strategy. Tom doesn't know anything about it and embarrasses himself while trying to get the gist of it. Jack asks him whether he's talked to Chris about the strategy, and Tom lies and says that he has. Jack tells him that Chris is a woman, and Tom says that they call Chris a he because she looks like a man. After embarrassing himself, Tom goes back to the office. He confronts Chip about setting him up, but Chip says that he has a medical emergency. He has a bladder control problem. Tom goes to his desk, and when he sits down, he notices that his chair has been unscrewed. He looks at Chip and goes to the kitchen to eat his yogurt. He comes back and sets his camera on his desk, but makes sure to hide it, as he wants to catch Chip messing up his things. Chip looks at him from a distance and notices the camera that Tom has set up. Later in the night, we see the whole family having a barbecue. Bob makes a toast for Tom, as he's finally gotten his act together. Tom goes to change the baby's diaper and decides to hide with the baby as he doesn't want to go out and be praised for something he doesn't even know how to do. On the ride back, Sophia asks Tom whether he's alright. He says that he is, but she reveals that Chip had called her and said that Tom had blown up on him. Tom can't believe that he called her to complain, but Sophia tells him that he only did that because he cares about her. Bob takes Tom to the bathroom for a private talk the next morning at work and tells him that he has spoken to Jack. Tom tells him that Chip is trying to sabotage him, and Bob doesn't believe that. He asks him to look through his actions, but Bob is convinced that Chip is a good guy. Tom gets out of work, and Manny runs after him. Tom thinks that he doesn't feel like he belongs there, and Manny tells him that he knows how it feels. He doesn't believe that, but Manny takes off his ponytail and says that it fit once he bought it. Tom says that not getting along with Chip has affected his relationship with his wife, and he would do anything to fix it. Manny says he's lucky as he is studying to be a marriage consultant. On the other side of Ohio, Sophia is seen at Abby's mommy yoga class. They are doing laughing exercises, and Abby calls Sophia an unlucky person, and that's not good for Oliver. Sophia has had enough, as she calls Abby an idiot and even insults her baby. Tom and Sophia agree to go to therapy, as they're seen at Manny's house. He suggests the exercise of saying, "I'm upset that." Each partner says the things they're upset about and taps the other one with an object. They start going back and forth, and by doing so, it gets more and more intense. Tom gets upset and ends up hitting Manny as well. The couple gets in the car after the exercise, and they sit in silence. After some time, they start laughing and saying they love each other. Tom goes to work and sees inappropriate content running on his laptop. He shuts it and looks around. He thinks that he has finally gotten Chip as he goes to check the camera, but he realizes that the inappropriate content has overlapped with Wesley's video. Bob and Woolabin come by. Woolabin snatches the tape off of Tom's hand, and Tom realizes that he's in trouble. He waits for Bob to close the office and sneaks in to steal the tape. He gets the tape but forgets the lamp over the papers. When he arrives home, he goes to Wesley and asks him to remake the video. Wesley says that he doesn't eat meat anymore and that he wouldn't be interested in a veggie burger either. Tom grabs his skateboard and says that he will get it back if he agrees on shooting the video again. Wesley runs to his house, and Tom runs after him. Wesley's father pulls up, and Tom goes back to his house. Sophia asks him whether he yelled at Wesley, and Tom tells her what had happened. She tells him to find someone else and to stop acting crazy. Tom goes to work the next day, only to find the office burned. Woolabin comes to him and says that the tape had been lost and that Bob had left the light bulb too close to the papers, which resulted in a fire. Tom realizes that he caused the fire and tells Woolabin that he can fix it. He goes to Wesley and offers him $1,000 to shoot the video again. Wesley tells him that his lawyer has told him not to speak to him again. Tom doesn't believe that, but a woman comes running to him and sprays him in the eyes. He rushes home and washes his face. Sophia comes and says that Bob has been fired, and Tom admits that he could have fixed it. He says that it's about the video, and she asks him whether he told Woolabin that the video wasn't destroyed in the fire. He says he hasn't, but even if he had, it wouldn't have changed anything. He starts yelling and says that he's trying to make it work, but he is miserable at the job. Everything he does is for her, and all she does is hang out with Oliver all day. Sophia gets offended and leaves, saying that she will be staying at her parents' house. Tom grabs his bike and heads out. He is stopped by Chip in his car, and he rubs in his face the fact that Sophia had left with a suitcase on her. Tom tells him to mind his own business, but Chip asks whether it's about work because women don't like failures. Tom tells him that it isn't, so Chip asks about his intimate life and even suggests an enlargement pump. Chip says that he imagines Sophia in a vulnerable state, and that makes Tom furious as he tells Chip to stay away from his wife. Chip tells him that he won't do anything and makes fun of his camera. Tom asks him how he knows about it, and Chip drives off. Tom goes to the office and watches the tape again. He sees Chip's reflection on the laptop screen and realizes that Chip has done all of that. Being alone in the office, Tom decides to go through Chip's drawer. After digging through the drawer, he finally finds evidence that Chip is lying. He finds a picture of him playing tennis, his legs perfectly working and all. While Tom is in the office, Chip is at Sophia's parents' home, having dinner with them all. Chip suggests watching a movie he had rented, and they all agree. The movie is about a disabled man being intimate with a woman. Their movie is cut short as Tom rings the doorbell. Sophia opens it, and he asks her to listen to him. He says that he has proof that Chip has switched the tapes, and that is when Chip comes out. Tom sees his son on Chip and starts yelling for him to leave him alone. Sophia takes the baby and Tom proceeds to call Chip Hot Wheels and a cripple. The family's had enough, But Tom isn't finished as he pulls out Chip's tennis picture and hands it to them. He drags Chip and brings him to the top of the stairs. He pushes him off the stairs, and Chip ends up falling. Tom is confused, but Sophia tells him that the man in the picture is his twin brother, Danny. Bob tells Tom to get out of the house and asks him what he's doing once they're out. Tom says that he had been wrong about his disability, but says again that he has Chip on tape. Sophia comes out and tells him to go. Tom doesn't argue but gets on his bike and heads home. Sophia takes Chip back to his house and asks him whether he's fine. He says he is, but he is worried about her. He thinks she's unhappy because she's on the wrong track. He tries to get with Sophia, but she tells him that he should go. Chip heads to the door, but Tom comes out of the bushes and tells him to stay away from his wife. Chip tells him that his wife is gone and that it's over. Tom goes to hit him, but Chip is faster. He punches him in the privates. Tom falls to the ground, and Chip tries to leave. Tom tells him that he is a horrible person, but being disabled makes him feel guilty for hating him. Chip calls Tom weak because he has done all sorts of horrible things to him and even plans on sleeping with his wife again, but Tom still pities him. Tom says that he does, and Chip tells him not to pity him as he stands up on his feet. Tom starts a fight and says that he knew there was something fishy about him. He asks Chip why he had pretended, and he says that he can park anywhere with the disabled mark, but what he loves the most is the pity he gets from women. Tom says that he will tell everyone, but Chip says that no one will believe him and that he should give up because he's never going to win. Chip gets a call in the middle of the night from the vice president of IDEA in Barcelona, asking him to fly to Barcelona as soon as possible because he had been chosen to be the creative director. Tom wakes up the next morning and hears a voicemail from Woolabin. They have set up a meeting with Wesley and his lawyer Sophia, but because he wasn't at work, Chip would be sent as a representative. Tom takes the bike and heads to Bob's. He asks about Sophia, but Bob says he doesn't know where she is. Tom is honest about the tape with Bob, and he tells him that he is responsible for losing his job. Tom tells him that he had started the fire as well, and Bob gets shocked but remains calm. Bob realizes that Woolabin isn't it, and Tom agrees. Bob smiles and tells Tom where his wife is, and he heads there immediately. While driving, Tom accidentally hits a car with his bike and ends up breaking both the car and the bike. He gets up and starts running to the place, and he ends up getting there just in time before Wesley signs the contract. He gets inside and asks everyone to listen to him. He turns to Sophia and admits that he may not be the perfect husband, but one thing she loves for sure is his ability to sense funny business. He says that Chip is a sociopath and that he can stand it. He knows that it's hard to believe, but he needs her to believe him without any evidence. Chip's phone rings, and he answers. It's the vice president of IDEA. He holds the phone and asks Sophia whether to buy 2 tickets, and she tells him that he's weird and creepy. She would never choose him over the love of her life. Tom thanks Sophia, and she says that he will never lose her. Chip surprises everyone as he stands up. He tells Sophia that he faked it and tells Tom that he will never be as good as him. He tells the man on the phone that he will like to travel that night. We see the vice president, and it's Tom's previous co-worker Riley. Chip hangs up the phone, and Tom asks him whether everything's settled. Chip says that it is and wishes luck to everyone. Tom wishes him luck as well, but Chip says that he doesn't need luck as he is going to work in Barcelona, and Tom is going to be stuck living in Ohio and working for the most boring agency in the world. Chip gets out and continues to brag about his life. He is unfortunate though, as a bus hits him, making him disabled for real. Sometime later, we see Wesley doing the commercial. In the commercial, he tells the story of all the previous ideas. He ends it by saying that it's just tartar sauce in a burger, but it's good, as he shoves the burger in his mouth, doing his famous trick again. Tom says cut, as he's the producer of the commercial. We see Bob next to him, and Tom thanks him for supporting his new business. The next morning, we see Tom and Sophia getting breakfast ready in their small apartment, but they're happier than they've ever been. As far as Chip goes, he had broken his legs for real this time. We see him trying to get into the building of IDEA, but he gets kicked out as he hasn't been employed at all.